Katherine Johnson from Learn Behavioral. Today we are talking about teaching our kids with autism how to protest. So in a couple of my other videos, we have discussed how to reinforce behaviors that are alternatives to challenging behaviors. I wanted to zero in on that a little bit more closely today and discuss teaching your child language to protest. So we're going to go over why we would teach our children protest language, what to teach, and how to teach it. First, why would we teach our children to talk back to us? Well, to begin with, protesting is one of the main functions of human communication. Think about all the times you protest every day. A lot of us are really used to being an advocate for our kids with our medical providers or our school personnel. But personally, I think that one of the places we can be our kids' best advocates is to teach them to challenge us and our demands of them. If you look at kids with typical language development, they've got protest language coming out of their ears. They have ways to ask for more time. They can sit and tell you why they don't like something. They can specify parts of a task that they don't like. They can engage you in discussion about it that ends up delaying the task, even if it's inevitable. So for our kids whose language is not typically developing, why would we deny them this important life skill that the rest of us use on a daily basis? We need to be sure to equip them with language to protest, language to delay things, language to get out of things. In my opinion, this is just as important as teaching them how to ask for juice or a toy or their favorite TV show. The other reason is that kids are going to protest even if they don't have the language. So if you don't teach them the language, you're going to see tantrums and aggression and destruction or other forms of protest. So teaching protest language gives them a tool that frankly we all use to question directions or get out of a task. And it can reduce the challenging behavior that they were using previously, because now you've taught them the way that the rest of us with typical language get out of things. So let's talk about what to teach. Most common protests are associated with a few different types of situations: transitions, directions, and ending an activity. First, transitions, which often involve removing or stopping a task or an activity that's enjoyable. So in these circumstances, you can teach them to say, 1 more minute, or not yet, or can I finish this, or anything else really that works for their situation. Second, there are protests in response to directions to do a less preferred activity or task, in which case you can teach them to say, no, I don't want to, or I don't like that. And last, there are protests to end an activity when your child has the desire to escape a situation. So in those situations, you can teach all done, I need a break, or let's go home. So let's go over how to teach. First, you want to make a plan, then you're going to teach the protest and practice it, and then be intentional about responding to it in real life moving forward. When you're making a plan, you want to ask yourself, what are the most important protests to teach first? Where is my child already protesting with their behavior? What modality is the best to use? Are you going to teach with pictures or spoken language or sign? And if you're teaching with spoken language, what vocabulary are you going to teach? And then the other really important thing you need to consider is what prompt is going to be the most effective. The next step is to actually teach and practice. So you want to set up the situation and make it as realistic as possible, or even teach within their regular routine. You'll want to prompt the protest language immediately. And then, and here's the thing, this is important, you want to use the escape or the delay as the reinforcer. So I'm going to give you an example of this. Let's say I have a kiddo who doesn't like sitting at the dinner table with his family and currently uses throwing food to get away from the table. We decide to teach him to ask for a break by giving him a break card. So we would start by having him sit down at the table, and then before he can throw food, prompt him to hand over the break card, and then tell him, oh, you want a break? Okay, you can get up. And then let him leave the table. And that would be the reinforcer. So you would want to continue practicing this, prompting and reinforcing, until you're able to fade the prompt, and then your kiddo can protest independently. Once your child has learned to protest, how do you deal with this in real life? Well, what you do about your child's complaints and protests is a dilemma whether your child is autistic or not. You want to reinforce the appropriate communication, so you want to listen to their protests and honor them when you can. Even if you can't fully honor a protest, I mean, you're not going to stop making them wipe during toileting just because they don't like it, but you can delay things, or you can also change things for them. So you can use the information about what your child is protesting about to maybe arrange their life a little bit differently. So if they're protesting wiping, for instance, maybe they need softer toilet paper. If they're constantly protesting brushing teeth, maybe try a new toothpaste flake. If they are protesting every time they have to do a school task, it might be an indication that they need more built-in reinforcement for schoolwork. We all have things that we need to do in life, and our protests don't necessarily make those things go away completely. And that's the reality for our kids too. But teaching them to advocate for themselves in the way that their peers do and really listening to them is important. And hey, I know that for myself, sometimes protesting just makes me feel better, even if it doesn't change things, you know? I hope this video has helped you to see the importance of teaching your child to protest language and given you some inspiration to try it at home. If you're working with the BCBA, please enlist their help. We are all really big on teaching appropriate alternatives to challenging behavior, and your BCBA can help by tailoring a program to your child's specific situation. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you're all staying healthy and safe. See you next week.